First, lock the suggestion box to block the way for loyal advice. Then, he gave a speech on the rostrum, encouraging people to carry forward the spirit of endurance. He said we come to school to suffer, not to enjoy. They were all spoiled. When the new China was just established, how many people can still take the college entrance examination by eating steamed buns with pickles? Only by enduring hardships can you become a superior person. Teach yourself biology and learn through food. The academic atmosphere is quite strong. Wang Dingfei dodged the four-headed and eight-shaped ones and looked for one. The frozen chicken legs are the same age as my grandmother. If I don't kowtow 3 times before eating them, I will be branded as disrespectful to the elderly. If you stew the chicken legs and eggs together, who knows, the great-grandson chicken and its great-grandson eggs will reunite in the same pot, and the 8 generations will live together. The braised pork is made with pig's breasts. I didn't expect that even though I had been weaned for more than 10 years, I could still find my childhood memories in pigs. Feed the pigs. Haha, I tasted the trademark. Let's talk about the free soup that comes standard in every cafeteria. The blackboard says that 1 egg can be passed down for 3 generations, and even though the person is gone, the egg is still there. After much difficulty, I found a wisp of floating seaweed in a hidden corner. Come out and get something to eat. The teacher was a little stunned, until my feet started to stagger and I lost my balance and sat down on the ground. So the teacher took us to his house. The master's wife laughed and walked into the kitchen to turn on the gas stove. Then serve 1 dish and eat 1. The chopsticks and bowls were always fighting, and the plates were licked without even having to be washed. In the middle of the meal, the teacher rolled up his sleeves and went into the kitchen. In the end, the 3 of us had our bellies full. The old class teacher wiped his sweat and panted as he said, "You 3 are from families that are not so poor that you can't afford to eat. Tell me what you did with your living expenses. Tell me the truth." I waved my hands repeatedly and slapped the meal card on the table, saying that all the money was spent here and not a penny was spent. The lymph meat was fried with rotten peppers, the rotten cabbage was stewed with rotten vermicelli, and even the rice was half-cooked. We are not being pretentious. The food in the cafeteria is not meant for human consumption. The whole class cheered. The teacher quickly shushed him so that the school leaders wouldn't hear it. 60 fresh meat buns, 2 for each of the 30 people. It's hot and greasy, with a delicate and chewy crust. Once you bite into it, the delicious soup flows down your throat into your stomach. It's so delicious that you'll lick your fingers. No one spoke. Taigong Ganbidi and Chongsher treated this hard-earned sheep. The cafeteria manager stood in front of him, looking at him with contempt, shouting something loudly and spitting. My old teacher is almost 50 years old, but he was scolded by that fat guy like a primary school student. My anger suddenly surged up. The white milk spilled all over the floor, and the meal that they had worked hard to prepare was covered in dust. The master's wife couldn't help but scream, her face full of heartache, and squatted down to rescue him. The fat man boasted, "So what?" As he said that, he kicked an orange away. "Fuck you." I rushed over to punch the fat guy, but the teacher hugged me immediately. "Fatty, apologize to my homeroom teacher." The teacher said, "He is still a child, and we should plan with him." The fat man pointed at the director's prince and said, "Get out of here." The teacher's wife sighed and said, "Your head teacher is going to retire soon. Do you want him to be bullied at this critical moment?" I was stunned for a moment. When you want to find a concave and flat, you can't buy a small 6 in the windy area. It's out. Everyone nodded. That's right. At this moment, I felt a rush of blood to my brain. The passion is soaring and the enthusiasm is soaring. Fuck, what's the big deal? When a person dies, the birds fly up to the sky. I am not afraid of his eggs. I raised my arms and shouted, "Smash the fucking cafeteria." Everyone said in unison, "Smash the fucking cafeteria." Oh, she was used to bullying students and didn't expect anyone to resist. He suddenly became excited. "How can you talk like that, little thing?" I ignored him and raised my hand. My deskmate behind me handed me another copy. Dinner plate. I swiped my card. 1 serving of stir-fried pork with green peppers. The 2 men felt that something was wrong and said with some caution, What are you going to do? I smiled with a fake smile. I'm eating. What else am I doing? Didn't you already get one? Why do you care how many copies I make? The uncle gritted his teeth and served me another portion. Maybe he was a little scared. His hands stopped shaking, and a stubborn illness that had plagued him for years was cured in one go. This time I didn't worry about the amount of meat. I raised my hand again, and the third plate was handed to me. Swipe, stir-fried pork with green peppers. The uncle finally realized that the person coming was not a good person, so he refused to move this time. He gave the aunt a wink, and she ran off to call someone. I said, "Are you deaf? I want to get some food." The uncle gnashed his teeth and said, "I have tolerated you for a long time." At this time, the aunt came over with the canteen manager, panting. "He's the one causing trouble." When the fat guy saw it was me, his brows twisted into knots. "Why are you here again? What are you going to do?" I said, "What else can I do in the cafeteria? I'm here to eat." He pointed at the 3 plates in the window and said, "I gave them to you. Take them and go." I casually browsed through the dishes and quickly found an old friend. "Pick it up and show it to him. What is this? Tell me what this is." He lied with his eyes open, calling the worm meat. "This is shredded meat." "Okay, then you eat it. This piece of meat is for you. Open your mouth. Open your fucking mouth." The fat guy didn't expect me to come over and pinch his mouth and push me hard. "Are you looking for death?" Old Joe really can't teach anything good. The teacher and the student are the same. Both are fucking wicked. The head teacher's surname is Joe. At this time he added fuel to the fire. I laughed. "Why? You don't even dare to eat what you made." Then he picked up the rice plate and slapped him in the face. "Then why the hell are you barking?" With a wow. The students who had been unable to hold back for a long time suddenly exploded. Those who lift the vegetable basin lift the vegetable basin, and those who push the table push the table. Our sports committee member even jumped onto the stage and yelled, "These bastards don't treat students as human beings. I've had enough of this kind of bullshit." As soon as this statement was made, there was a lot of response. Many students who were not in our class also stood up, grabbed the food plates, and threw them towards the window. The food window was immediately smashed to pieces. It's already an age when hormones are raging, plus there's been a lot of resentment. All the new and old grudges broke out at this moment. How could the aunties who usually treated us coldly when serving us dare to resist the angry crowd? We immediately put on the grease and ran faster than rabbits. We were unstoppable and quickly occupied the cafeteria, throwing pots and pans, throwing bowls, and smashing stoves. The situation is very good. The fat guy was knocked down by my slap and also went crazy. He cursed with a red face, saying he wanted to kill me and my whole family. I grabbed his collar and punched him in the face. At the age of 16, I was at the peak of my physical strength and IQ. What's flowing in the body is no longer blood, but adrenaline. I used all my strength to beat him so hard that he had no power to fight back. He couldn't beat me, so he cursed me even more fiercely and even more foully. I thought he was noisy, so I grabbed a handful of food and stuffed it into his mouth. He refused to eat, so I held him down with both hands and forced him to eat. "You guys don't even want to eat the food you cook. How can you let us eat it?" The fat man scratched his throat and vomited it all out. Now I am even more curious about what kind of food they cook. At this time, someone called my name. I looked up and saw the physical education teacher and the class monitor running towards me with a large soup pot, motioning for me to move aside. I stood up and they pushed the fat man inside. "Fatty, I've been annoyed with you for a long time." The squad leader took the rice spoon and knocked hard outside. "You're allowed to show off. You're the principal's relative, so what? Putting some side dishes in there is like asking for your life. Just pick it up and search it. You're pretty capable, aren't you? Ask your principal dad to save you." This fat guy is usually a bad person, and now he is getting his comeuppance. As soon as we took the pot away, countless vegetable leaves flew towards him from all directions. If I hadn't reacted quickly, I would have been injured by mistake. The fat guy finally realized that he had angered everyone, and he didn't even dare to scold us. He lay on the ground, holding his head and begging for mercy. The school responded quickly as well. More than a dozen security guards rushed into the cafeteria, holding up loudspeakers and shouting "Stop." Several school leaders also rushed over. The leader is the principal, who is usually elusive. After all, the students were still afraid of the principal, so they all stopped what they were doing. The scene suddenly became quiet. When the fat man saw the principal, it was like seeing his master. He ran over, tumbling and crawling, crying, "They are rebelling! They are rebelling!" Looking at the fat boy covered in rotten vegetable leaves, the principal frowned and took a half step back unconsciously. "What happened? Who started it?" "Stand up." I had already prepared to transfer to another school, so I immediately raised my hand. "I did it." "Do you know what you are doing?" The principal glared at me. I met his gaze and said calmly, "I know. I am defending my right to eat." I found a plate of food in the corner that hadn't been served yet. He scooped a spoonful of smelly duck meat and handed it to the principal. "He usually gives us this to eat. Is this for human consumption?" The principal knew what was going on, but he didn't even bother to look at her. He put on his righteous look again. "So you're rebelling? You always turn a deaf ear to what I say. If you can't even handle this little hardship, what can you do when you enter society in the future?" I laughed and said, "I am a capable principal. I let the students suffer, and I give all the money to the principal." "What? Earn your own money." The principal was so angry that he was shaking. Okay, very good. Which class are you in? Who is the homeroom teacher?" I was too lazy to pay attention to him, and the fat guy interrupted. "I know who his class teacher is. I just gave him a lesson this afternoon." As they spoke, they contacted their teacher. I said, "They didn't want to feed us, so I smashed the cafeteria. I did everything. I dropped out of school. What does it have to do with my class teacher?" "You are quite protective of your class teacher." The principal sneered. "I'm really curious about which famous teacher taught you to be such a talented student." The teacher was soon called over. "Teacher Zhou, look at what your students have done." The teacher was shocked by the mess on the ground and pulled me aside and asked in a low voice, "What's wrong? What did you do?" I said, "I did everything. It has nothing to do with others. If you want to punish someone, punish me." The principal ignored me and said to the teacher, "Mr. Zhou, the students in your class are so arrogant. They smashed the cafeteria today, and they will smash the school tomorrow." The teacher said, "There must be a misunderstanding here. They are not bad kids. There must be a reason for this." Hee. Everything happens for a reason. What a good saying, that everything happens for a reason. The principal sneered. "Then if I smash the principal's office in the future, can I also say that there is a reason for it?" "Mr. Zhou, you are an old teacher, and I respect you very much," he said sinisterly. "You will retire in a few years, so don't be foolish at this time. Tell me, how should you punish your students for doing such a thing?" He really would use these things to threaten his teacher. I didn't want to embarrass the teacher, so I stepped forward and said, "You are such a whiner. I will just drop out of school. You old thing is barking here nonstop. So annoying." The principal's face turned pale, his chest rising and falling violently. "Teacher Zhou, this is the student you taught." The old class teacher, who had been bowing his head to apologize, suddenly straightened his chest, looked directly at the principal's face, and said slowly and firmly, "I think he is right." "What?" "Oh, I'm not referring to the fact that he said you were barking like a dog. Oh, that's not what I meant. Principal, food is the most important thing for people, especially when they are still growing up. Not letting children eat well is really an excessive thing." The head teacher pointed at the fat boy and said, "You can see that the food they cooked is really terrible. To put it bluntly, even dogs wouldn't eat it. So it's normal for everyone to be upset." I nodded in agreement. "Yes, I gave it to the principal just now, but he refused to eat it." Everyone burst into laughter. Okay. The principal nodded vigorously. "Your term as a class teacher has come to an end. None of you poor students can escape. If anyone else, stand up. I will ask your parents to take you back. Don't read the book." And me. As soon as he finished speaking, the monitor raised his hand and said, "As the head of a school, you appoint people based on personal connections and do not distinguish right from wrong. You cannot even be fair and just. What's the point of staying in a school like this? Then I'll leave too." The sports committee member raised his hand and said, You two are in cahoots with each other. You are the same kind of people. That word is pronounced, pho. The squad leader reminded in a low voice. The sports committee member said, I am also going to repeat the year. If you don't want me here, I will find another place to stay. My lord, and me. The guy who raised his hand this time is not from our class. He said succinctly, you eat less than my dog, and you still read your mother's book. And me. And me. More hands were raised in unison, and the number was endless. At this moment, I had an illusion. It feels like I have arrived at a battlefield. Dark clouds covered the city, and swords and spears formed a forest. The legendary invincible demon king is at the gate of the city. We, the weak ones, hold hands and form a human wall, shouting in unison, I don't have clothes. I will share my clothes with you. Everyone's face was filled with excitement or anger. In comparison, the principal's expression was extremely ugly. He looked at us in disbelief. After a long silence, he finally pointed at the few of us who stood up first and said that he didn't dare to suspend classes for so many students. Said, let your parents take you back now. That's right. If he really dares to do that, his tenure as principal will be over. My parents were the first to arrive. Before I saw anyone, I heard my dad's loud voice from a distance. Little rabbit. Boy, I heard you had a fight. Did you win? My mother yelled at him. Can you please behave yourself? Then, I saw a tall figure coming towards me like a gust of wind. He grabbed my shoulders and looked me over. Did you win? Are you hurt? My father taught me since I was a kid that if someone bullies you, you should beat them up. Go back. A wise man cannot suffer a loss in front of him. I shook my head, and my dad breathed a sigh of relief, but his expression changed at the speed of light. While untying his belt, he pointed at me and said, You little bastard, I told you to study, but you dared to fight me. Do you have the heart to focus on your studies? I am too familiar with this pre-swing, and I can't escape from the beating. The teacher stood in front of me and said, This matter cannot be entirely blamed on the child. My dad blinked and said, Oh, yeah, I haven't found out what happened yet. What happened, teacher? What did he do? Did he have a premature love affair? Did he skip classes? Did he have a fight with someone? Never mind. It's definitely not a good thing, so I'll definitely give him a beating first. Come here. The conversation was so intense that the teacher couldn't get a word in. At this time, the principal coughed twice. My dad looked back at him, didn't take it seriously, and was about to punish me again. He didn't even know the principal. The teacher said, The food cooked by the school is too bad and the children can't eat it. I went there and made some suggestions, but the result was, the old teacher looked at the mess on the ground. My dad looked down at his feet, stunned for a moment, and then shouted, Fuck, you smashed the cafeteria? Are you looking for death? If I don't punish you for 3 days, you will tear off the tiles. Get over here, or I will peel off a layer of your skin. I hid and said, Dad, this is really disgusting. How bad can it be? I think you're just looking for an excuse. Come here. The principal coughed twice more. My dad was already annoyed that he couldn't catch me, so he turned around and yelled at him. Who are you, parent? Can't you see I'm educating my child? You're making so much noise. The fat man said, This is the principal. My mother. My father. Mr. Principal, are you not feeling well? You have caught a cold recently, and your throat is a little dry. I have a folk remedy from my hometown. I will send it to you later. The principal looked at him coldly. Farewell, I can't accept your gift. I called you here this time so that you can bring the son home and let him choose a university. Our temple is too small to accommodate this great God. My father finally caught me and pressed my head hard. Hurry up and apologize to the principal. My mother smiled and said, My family will compensate for everything here. I really didn't expect something like this to happen. The principal raised a hand and interrupted my mother. I stiffened my neck and said, I won't apologize. He fed us garbage. Why should I apologize? What apology? You're talking back? My mother was suspicious at this time. How bad can it be? Can it be worse than your father's? The bran you were fed tasted bad? I had scooped a spoonful of duck meat for the principal before, and it was placed next to him. So I picked it up and said, Look, My parents were caught off guard and came out at the same time. How is it possible? I pay 1,000 yuan a month for meals, and I can't afford to feed you. My dad still doesn't believe it. Before, I complained at home about the bad food in the school cafeteria, but no one believed me. But he just thought I was trying to avoid going to school, not even a punctuation mark. I said, then come with me. I led them into the cafeteria. Fatty and the principal saw that things were not going well, so they stopped me and said, it's hard to please everyone. Just because the food is not to your liking is not a reason to smash things. At this time, some parents came one after another and said, then, let's see whether it's the cafeteria's problem or the student's problem. They still want to quibble. But the sports committee member and the class monitor were already carrying a plate of food each. He came running over grunting. One plate was of black eggplants that looked like cement. One dish is stir-fried green pepper with bean curd. The green pepper is black and the wormholes are clearly visible. See, what's the difference between this and a swill bucket? My dad frowned and pushed aside the eggplant, revealing a dead fly. The difference is this isn't packed in a bucket. My mother sneered. The fat man quickly came out to explain. This is an extremely isolated incident. It is wrong for them to waste food. Xian ran, and Ru shouted, Yan, you are looking for trouble. This 1.83-meter-tall dark-skinned man bent over and hugged his mother, crying loudly. I can't eat enough here, and I can't sleep well. Every day I want to go home and eat the braised pork you make. I drool in my dreams every day. I'm really hungry, Mom. This sound awakened the maternal love of all the mothers present. My mother's eyes turned red on the spot. So, we followed suit and complained to our parents about the difficulties. For a moment, the entire cafeteria was filled with cries of distress. Mom, I'm hungry. Now, the parents were even more excited. They surrounded the principal and demanded an explanation. The fat man saw that the situation was not right and prepared to run away. I pointed at him and said, Dad, he was the one who forced us to eat these and beat us. My dad rushed over and kicked him. You hit my son? The fat man slid more than a meter away. Then my dad rode on him and started shooting at him left and right in the face. He is worthy of being my biological father. Even our beating postures are exactly the same. The other parents reacted and surrounded the boy, punching and kicking him left and right. Let's get back to the principal. He still insisted. This is all to cultivate students' hard work and perseverance. It is not good to be too spoiled. One parent said, You fart. This is called suffering? This is clearly eating. Shit. For a moment, it was difficult to distinguish between friend and foe. Another parent said, I'm afraid the trick here is not just one person. Damn, I don't believe it. With a monthly meal allowance of 1,000 yuan, I only eat this. I can explain the bitterness, right? So, if you make the canteen's cash flow public, can you spend all the money? Yes, I need to check the bank account, or I will report it to the Education Bureau. Upon hearing the word Education Bureau, the principal's expression changed noticeably. He no longer had the arrogant look he had before. He put his hands together and kept bowing. I'm sorry, parents of students, I didn't supervise him strictly. I will reflect on it. I will fire him now. I will change the canteen staff in the future, and I will conduct regular inspections. I promise that this kind of thing will not happen again. I was young at that time and didn't know that the Education Bureau was so effective. If I had known this earlier, I would have written a letter to report it. It's useless. If dozens of parents go to make trouble, the Education Bureau will not take action unless it has a bad impact. The position of principal has some connections, but the Education Bureau will most likely not care about it. You are an ordinary student. Executive review. Knowledge really changes destiny. Hee hee. Now you promise. What were you doing before? My mother sneered. Didn't you say you would suffer? Okay, you take the lead. Eat these. I will consider whether to forgive you or not. The sports committee member was quick to bring a bowl of gray rice and handed it over. Why is it this color? I asked in a low voice. I swept it from the floor on purpose, he said. Does he deserve to eat from the pot? The principal looked hesitant. The parents slammed the table and said, Eat, eat. The principal picked up a piece of bean-curd skin with trembling hands and laughed dryly. Actually, this is not bad. The conditions are much better than when I was studying. Stop talking nonsense. More reviews. The principal gritted his teeth, closed his eyes, and drank it in one gulp. Chew, 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 chew. Can't chew it. What's going on? He spit it out and saw that it was a rag. The students burst into laughter. You've got this day. Ending. The parents jointly reported the matter to the Education Bureau. Then the leaders above attached great importance to it and set up an investigation team. It was found that the principal had abused his power for personal gain, so he was stripped of his position and sent to jail. The fat man was punished to the maximum extent for failing to meet hygiene standards, bribery, and falsifying accounts. Later, the first thing the new principal did when he arrived was to renovate the cafeteria. He contracted each window to a different dealer. Let them compete on their own merits. We will also conduct surveys from time to let students choose the window that they are most dissatisfied with. Mouth. Once you win the bid twice in a row, you will be eliminated. This move has greatly improved our food. My favorite is the Cantonese cuisine on the first floor of the cafeteria. Affordable price and great flavor. The first 50 people will receive free Geiling jelly. The auntie who serves the food is enthusiastic and her hands are not shaky. Every time he sees me, he calls me handsome. The only regret is that the teacher's special kitchen is no longer useful. But after this incident, our class became more united than ever before. Even after more than 10 years of graduation, everyone still chats in the class group from time to time. Every year, a group of people return to their alma mater to have dinner and chat with their old teachers. Last year, I went back with the class monitor and sports committee member. Our teacher said that our class was the bravest he had ever taught. Now, there is a saying among the junior students. After the seniors left, they renovated the cafeteria for us and improved our treatment, not because they had a change of heart, but because the seniors had been here.